Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 273, How to Prioritize Yourself. Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I heard y'all loved last week's episode. Is your drinking creeping? Has you thinking about stuff, doesn't it? Has you wondering? Has your brain kind of like, It's good. That's why I love this podcast so much. It gets you to think about things from a different angle. It helps you look at stuff and be open to seeing things that you may haven't been willing to see on your own. So I'm glad that you're hearing it. I'm glad that it's making you question some stuff, and now's the time to do something about it, okay? So I follow all of these sober accounts on Instagram, and, I read all the quit lit, which is quit literature, if you didn't know what that means. But, stories and memoirs and books about people who, struggled with drinking or drugs and then gave it up, and how all that changed and how they did it and all that stuff. I'm just immersed in that because that's my work. And so I like to be immersed in that stuff. And when I first was working on this problem myself, that's what my coach told me to do. They said, go read all the books, go follow all the Instagrams, go, have your brain be influenced by this stuff, because we're influenced by so many things, right? I used to follow a lot of wineries and fancy restaurants and food stuff on my Instagram. This was before coaching. And when I heard that, I unfollowed a lot of that stuff because I didn't want to be getting the programming that we get when we see that stuff. Like when I see really good food, I'm like, ooh, I want to eat that, and it may not be what I need to be eating right now. Or same thing with alcohol. Like I don't need to be seeing what the wineries are up to and like their releases of this year and this vintage and blah, 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 right? Or like sign up for your wine club membership. Like I don't want to be influenced that way. And if you can curate your social media accounts, which if you have them, you are able to do that. I highly recommend that you do that because we get enough in it, like messages around alcohol. We get it when we go out into the world, we go to the store, we go to restaurants, people's homes, all the stuff, vacations, freaking yoga, Pilates. We don't need, if we can control some of that messaging, I highly recommend it because you want to start reprogramming your brain to think about this stuff differently. And if you follow a lot of sober accounts, it does help because a lot of the sober accounts will tell you why alcohol is bad. That's not typically my angle. But it's good reminders, right? It's like important for us to understand the dangerous parts of it too. So I like it. And one of the things on Instagram, I can't even remember which one it was, but recently it was like, how to stop drinking, it said. Prioritize yourself was the number one. And I was like, what does that even mean? Do you want to like dive into that a little bit more? So I also say this too all the time. It's like, you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. And a lot of people don't know how to do that, or they don't even know what that means. And so I want to talk about it on the podcast today because prioritizing yourself and taking care of yourself is a requirement when you change your relationship with alcohol or want to do any sort of behavioral change. So when I think about prioritizing myself, it's usually because I have a goal, and a goal around food, exercise, drinking more water, getting better sleep, something like that, right? I think about being a plant, a living, breathing plant, right? And the plant needs nutrition, it needs sunlight, it needs to get fresh air, it needs nourishment. it needs socialization, it needs oxygen. So that's what I want you to think about as you listen to this podcast is your body it's a live being. It's part of nature, right? And it needs certain things in order to thrive, not just be alive. But part of my work is helping you learn how to thrive, right? My programs are called Alive AF because it's more about just getting through the day, right? We want to amplify that. We want to learn how to thrive and to feel the best way possible. And when you're changing your relationship with alcohol, putting yourself and your goals and what that takes on a day-to-day basis as a priority in what you do during the day is very, very important. So I'll just reflect on how I prioritize myself, and you can elaborate what that might look like for you. So very small micro details is how I prioritize myself. It's day-to-day decisions throughout the day. So the other morning I was going somewhere, and I was kind of running behind. Not like super late or anything, but I was feeling a little bit rushed. And I normally bring my Stanley cup with my water, everywhere I go. Yes, I do that. You tell me all the jokes, I'm fine with it. Anyway, so I was like getting ready to go, and I was like, oh, I don't need that. I don't need to bring that. I won't be gone that long. And I stopped and I said, your water is a priority for you. Go ahead and fill the water bottle. So that's how I prioritize myself. Every day I write 2 Stanley cups of water is part of my daily goal. And so I'm like, oh yeah, that is a priority for me. So I'm going to take the 1 minute it takes to refill this water cup and put it in my car. Because if I have it with me and I take it around, I drink more water, and that's a priority for me. So that's taking care of myself. I'm prioritizing my self-care with that tiny little detail. A lot of times I think people think, oh, you got to prioritize yourself and you got to put yourself at the top of the list means I have to say no to everybody else and I'm going to make my needs first and nobody else is going to get my time and energy. And that's very black and white thinking, right? So I'm talking about little teeny tiny details where you're like consciously like, no, that helps me feel good. That helps me stay on track towards my goal. So I'm going to take the 5 minutes to do it. That's how I prioritize myself. I also prioritize myself by planning my food every day. And sometimes that includes meal prepping. So yesterday, it was Sunday, it was Easter Sunday. I spent 2 hours in the kitchen cooking for my week. And I'm actually taking my middle kid to the beach this week. So I'm thinking ahead and prioritizing my food and the type of food that I want to eat while I'm traveling. And did it take time? Yes. Is it something that I necessarily enjoy doing? It's not like I'm standing there like saying I hate it. Would I rather be hiking in the woods or watching a movie? I don't know. I actually really like taking care of myself. I like setting myself up for success because then throughout the week I'm making less decisions. It actually saves me time because I already have it all taken care of. So like when you're in the day-to-day, and as you know, things change throughout the day. Unexpected things come up. You get distracted, blah, blah, blah. You get tired. Just stop and like make a meal from scratch. Sometimes I don't have it in me to do that. And so I actually prefer investing. This is how I think about it. I invest some time ahead of time to make sure that I take care of myself. That's how I prioritize myself. So I'm thinking ahead about what's ahead of me. This week I have the beach trip with my kid. We're driving, so I can bring whatever I want. And so I meal prepped a couple salads. And that's it. Just 2 salads that I might eat for lunch or dinner. And it felt good to have that done. And they're very good salads. Jennifer Aniston salad. Google it. That's one of them. And then I made an egg salad. So, yeah, I'm really excited about that. So that's how I prioritize my food is you think ahead and you're like, okay, what do I want? What is going to be good for me? What is in alignment with my goals? And so I meal prepped. And then I, make sure that I get my water in. I also think about my schedule for the day and what time I want to wake up in the morning to make sure that I get my priorities in. So if I have a really busy day and I'm on kid duty in the morning and whatever, I might have to wake up at 5 in the morning to like do my journaling, have my alone time, and then I like to do an hour-long walk. And so sometimes that means I have to like get going a little bit earlier than just, kind of letting the day happen. So that's how I prioritize. So walking every day is important to me. So I prioritize that by say, if I have something going on, I have to be somewhere at 8:30 or 9 in the morning, then I know that I gotta start walking at 6:30, right? So I'm thinking ahead about how I can fit what I need to do to take care of myself in my day. I generally don't make last minute decisions on this stuff. It is thought about in advance. I have a really good podcast episode. It's called Preparations. It's episode number 260. I highly recommend you listen to that too. It ties in a little bit about what I'm talking here. But if you want to change anything in your habits, whether that's drinking or food, or you want to exercise more, or you want to drink more water, or you want to get better sleep, or whatever it is for you and your health, you have to learn how to prioritize yourself. And sometimes you have to get up and get out the door at 6:30 in the morning to get your hour-long walk in so that you can have enough time to get home and take a shower and not rush to your first appointment. That's what I'm talking about. It's the micro details of that stuff. If where we kind of fall and slack on this prioritizing ourselves is like, yeah, I want to, every day I'm like, I'm going to make this plan and I'm going to, say you want to walk for an hour and you don't get up until 6:30 or 7 in the morning. And then you want to have your coffee, right? Or whatever it is that you do first thing in the morning. And then, maybe you are, packing your lunch and you have to go to work and like it just all starts packing in. It all starts kind of like stacking on top of each other. And you're just like recognizing, I don't have time to get a walk in today. And then you go to work and, you hit the ground running and maybe at lunch you had every good intention to get out there and get a 30-minute walk in or whatever it was. And it just doesn't happen. We have to make it happen. And so I recommend that you think about what time you're going to make that happen by putting yourself as the priority, right? So you might have to get up a little bit earlier in the morning, right? You may have to plan to stop somewhere after work to get your walk in. Like whatever that looks like for you is prioritizing yourself. And it's very small details like I'm telling you. Bring your water with you, right? Don't just ignore what you said that you were going to do, because those little sort of like micro ignores or micro quits that we do, if you've said you're going to do something and then the day is getting away from you, you're like, oh, I can do that later. It all sounds like that. Oh, I don't need to do that right now. Oh, I can do that later. Oh, I'll just do this one thing real quick. If you notice that, that is not prioritizing yourself. So you need to stop. And when you recognize yourself saying that to yourself about your own needs, the things that you have identified that you want to do to prioritize yourself or to take care of yourself, and you have to just stop and be like, okay, this is a requirement for me to feel good. This is a requirement for me to honor my commitments that I said that is important to me. When we're in the moment of it, it doesn't feel very urgent, right? It's just like, oh, I can push that to the side because, the other things are more tantalizing, more urgent. They feel, more emergency like. But you have to be the one that says, nope, I'm worth this time. And so I'm going to pick out that time ahead of time. It always is better when you do it that way. If you wait for the day to happen and then I'll figure out when I'm going to go walk, or I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get my water in, or I'm going to figure out what I'm going to get for lunch or whatever that day, it's just, how it goes, right? If you're here and you're struggling with over drinking, it's because we're not doing these things on a regular basis. And so if you don't prioritize yourself and you're not drinking your water, or maybe you're not moving your body, or maybe you're not thinking about what you want to eat ahead of time, you're going to get to the end of the day. You push all that stuff off as you'll do it later. And then you're tired at the end of the day and you don't feel like doing anything except what? Go drink, right? Because that's what you've trained your brain to do, to take care of yourself. And you know that that's not self-care, right? You know that drinking at the end of the day because you deserve it, or because you've had a long day and you've taken care of everybody else and this is your only treat, really isn't taking care of yourself. That's self-sabotaging yourself. And you deserve more than that. You deserve to have 5, 10, 15 minutes of time throughout the day in little chunks to make sure that you're doing the things that you know will set yourself up for success. So to back it up a little bit, say you did plan to get up a little bit early, you got your morning walk in or your morning workout. You did, the night before pack your lunch to take with you so you didn't have to figure that out the day of. Or maybe on the weekends you meal prepped for yourself so that you can just have quick and easy lunches to grab all week. Or, you make a big dinner on Sunday and you have leftovers for 3 nights in a row. That is prioritizing yourself. Another example I had was my in-laws were here last weekend or the weekend before, I can't remember, to watch my kids in their Spamalot theater production. And I went back and forth about cooking dinner for them because I had a really busy week, and they had their play on Friday night after I was in an all-day conference on Friday. And the last thing I wanted to do was cook dinner for them and for the family, so there would be 7 people I'd be cooking for. And nobody cared that I was going to cook or not cook. My husband's like, we can order pizza. Like, it's no big deal. I'm like, but I don't want pizza. I don't want pizza. It does not make me feel good. And so I battled with myself about it. And finally I decided, you know what? I'm cooking dinner for me. And I'll make enough for everybody, obviously. But I'm doing this for me because my priority right now is eating well. And that's important to me. So I was willing to put in the extra effort that it took to make a dinner on Saturday, even when I was tired. That's okay. Sometimes we have to, part of prioritizing yourself is doing things that might require a little bit extra work. And I'm so glad that I did do that because it felt good to eat healthy food instead of being tired and then ordering pizza. You know what that does for you, right? It doesn't actually make you feel any better. I'm happy I invested some time and energy into cooking a healthy dinner for everybody. And then we had leftovers the next day, which was awesome. So that's the kind of differentiating I'm talking about, and the little tiny details. When you think about prioritizing yourself, it's really the decisions you have ahead of you in one 24-hour period. And so the more you prioritize yourself and you take care of yourself and you choose activities and things to do that are in alignment with your goals, you get to your goals faster and you feel better and you have more energy. And things start they start coming into place, and you can see it it's kind of stringing together, right? And you start noticing changes, and that is motivating. So you want to keep doing it more and more and more and more. So I hope that helps you kind of not think about this idea as prioritizing yourself as a big undertaking. It definitely it definitely requires some planning. And it's going to take some time, right? And your life deserves that attention. Please hear me on that. Your life deserves the attention that you give to it, even if it takes some extra work sometimes, because you only have one life, friends. And by prioritizing yourself and doing these things I'm talking about, make you enjoy your life so much more. I promise you, it'll make you drink less. It'll make you enjoy your life more. You'll feel better, and it'll just keep going from there. So make it a priority to prioritize yourself this week by planning out how much you're going to drink your water, filling out your drink plan worksheets, getting that movement in, getting some fresh air, getting outside. All of those things are going to make you feel better, but you have to think ahead and you have to plan them in advance, typically the morning of, the night before, so that you can make all the pieces work. Everyone asks me all the time, how do you have 3 kids, run your own business, not drink, take care of yourself, have amazing friendships, travel, blah, blah, blah. It's because I prioritize myself. It's because I have these well-established habits now that I just know how to fit it all in. I do get up early, and I know a lot of people don't like doing that, but for me, it helps be able to prioritize myself so I can get that hour-long walk in before I'm hitting the ground running at, 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And when I do that, I have a more energy to do all of the things that I want to do, right? And spend time with my kids and spend time with my clients and spend time with my husband and go travel and plan the trips and the retreats and all of that stuff and run my business and help the people and record the podcast. Like, I couldn't do all that unless I figured out a way to fit my self-care in and prioritize those little things. I would be completely exhausted and overwhelmed and out of energy and dehydrated if I didn't make myself a priority. So, and by making yourself a priority and ingraining these habits into your life, you have more capacity to do more if that's what you want. You don't have to do more. I do a lot just because I like to, but you don't have to do all those things. But and even if you don't do all the things that I do, it's okay. But you will enjoy what you do more when you feel good. So use that as a motivator to make these daily efforts to prioritize yourself and your care for yourself. You're a living, breathing thing that needs attention. And it needs nourishment. It needs fresh air. It needs water. It needs rest. Okay? And if you do those things, you'll drink less, you'll feel better, and you will live more. All right, my friends, I can't wait to talk to you all next week. Bye for now. I want you to check out angelamascenik.com/aliveaf. You know what it's like to have a desire to cut back on your drinking, right? You start to read books, listen to podcasts, try things, but you might not be able to yet put all the pieces and suggestions together in a way that actually makes sense and works for you. You might struggle with beating yourself up after an overdrink. You might get frustrated with yourself when you take 2 steps forward and then another 2 steps back, and get overwhelmed with what's right and wrong about your relationship with alcohol. Your friends tell you that you should be able to have just 1 drink, and it isn't a big deal. You might be white-knuckling through urges and resisting instead of peacefully processing them. And you might struggle with your identity as someone who has enjoyed having a lot of wine or alcohol in your life. It's around you all the time. It's what you do and who you are. Well, after 5 years of successfully coaching hundreds of women through these struggles, I have created the Alive AF membership, where women like you can learn the basics on what it takes to cut back and reach your goals with alcohol, whether it is to just drink less or totally quit. And when you join, you will get the exact framework I used to change my own relationship with alcohol and still use today, that has led me to be alcohol-free for over 5 years. You're going to get access to my resources, videos, and worksheets that have been proven to change and reduce how much you drink. Every day you can ask questions, share your obstacles, and get coaching and direct support on the challenges you will face with love and no judgment. Also, you will get immediate access to workshops like uncovering your alcohol identity and changing it, how to say no to things that don't support your new identity or life or goals, aka boundaries, a workshop called Creating Emotional Agency, and another one, How to Manage Your Mind to Succeed at Your Goals, and more. Every month we have a brand new workshop. These workshops are filled with step-by-step prompts and instruction to help you create the exact relationship with alcohol that is best for you. My mission and vision for Alive AF is to be a hub of support and resources for women to come and learn how to do what is best for them and becoming more alive in the process. When you join, you're going to learn how to take care of yourself better, how to feel good and become more alive and go after the life that you really want. I want this membership to be affordable and an easy solution where you can get all the help you need in one simple place whenever you need it. So, no need to go read another book, find a new podcast, attend a free webinar, or go down the path of piecemealing it all together. Join Alive AF and have it all there in one place for you anytime you need it. So, go to angelamascenik.com/AliveAF, and enrollment is open right now. See you inside.